If you've grown squash for any length of time, you already know how quickly things can turn. One week your plants look bold and unstoppable. The next you're seeing chew marks, beetles cruising the leaves, and vines that suddenly look stressed. For years, I handled squash pests the way most gardeners do. I waited until I saw damage, and then I reacted. Sprays, powders, hand-picking. So today I want to share what I call the Amish secret to squash companion planting. And it's not about a product, a spray, or some miracle powder. It's about design. Pest control isn't something you do after the problem appears. It's something you design into the garden from the beginning. Most of us think about companion planting as tucking a few herbs between vegetables and hoping for the best. But the Amish approach is more intentional than that. It's layered. Yes, you strengthen the soil with compost every year so your squash plants grow thick stems and resilient leaves. Yes, you avoid long buffet-style rows and instead plant in shorter blocks to break up scent trails. And yes, you use trap plants like blue Hubbard squash or nasturtium to draw pressure away from your main crop. But those are just pieces of a larger system. Instead of only mixing companions within your squash bed, you dedicate a small, intentional section of your garden entirely to feeding beneficial insects. Not randomly, not occasionally, consistently. This can be as simple as a 2-foot wide strip running along one edge of your garden. That's it. But what you plant there matters. Beneficial predators, ladybugs, lacewings, parasitic wasps, hoverflies, don't survive on pests alone. The adults need nectar and pollen. Without it, they don't stay. So if your garden only blooms when vegetables bloom, you create gaps. And in those gaps, the predators leave. The goal is continuous bloom from early spring through fall. Along one border of your garden, plant a dense front row of sweet alyssum. It stays low, spreads gently, and flowers for months. Right behind it, alternate yarrow and dill every 10 to 12 inches. Let the dill flower. Those umbrella-shaped blooms are magnets for parasitic wasps. If you have extra room, add a few fennel plants spaced about 18 inches apart toward the back. Their tall, airy flowers extend the bloom period and increase visibility for flying predators. You can even tuck in Queen Anne's lace to widen the flowering window. Plant densely. Don't over-prune. Let this strip feel abundant. What happens is subtle at first. You start seeing more hoverflies drifting through the squash blossoms, more tiny parasitic wasps working the undersides of leaves, fewer unchecked aphid explosions, squash bug populations that never quite reach overwhelming numbers. The system begins regulating itself, not because pests disappear, but because predators are already present before the surge begins. And if you have the space, go one step further. Create a separate perennial beneficial habitat slightly outside your main vegetable garden. This could be a small corner bed or border planted with long-blooming natives and self-seeding herbs that you don't disturb each season. Let some plants overwinter. Leave hollow stems standing through fall so beneficial insects have shelter. Add a shallow water source with stones for landing. When you provide not just nectar but habitat, food, shelter, and protection, you turn your garden into a permanent home base for predators instead of a temporary feeding stop. This strip works alongside your other strategies. Your squash blocks break up scent trails. Your trap crops divert heavy pressure. Companion rows of dill or marigolds create confusion around the plants themselves, but the insectary strip, and especially a permanent beneficial zone, is what sustains the defenders long-term. It's the food source and habitat that keeps your allies in residence instead of passing through. Squash pests aren't defeated by force, they're managed by balance. When nectar flows steadily from spring through fall, when predators have shelter and food, when trap plants redirect pressure instead of concentrating it, the garden shifts. It becomes less reactive and more resilient. And once you see how a simple strip of flowers and a dedicated beneficial space can change the rhythm of your entire squash patch, you'll never plant vegetables without them again.